Musk interview that's been taking the world by storm. So we're gonna play this. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We're just gonna play it, and
this was awesome. By the way, awesome.
Yeah.
Like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the mainstream narrative.
I'm asking for specific examples, and you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
I just want to pause here. I think it's funny that he goes with slightly racist or slightly sexist because he knows that there's no overtly racist, but he knows that there's no overtly racist or overtly sexist stuff. So he has to say slightly to soften it so that when someone points out, well, is that slightly? Yeah, that's slightly racist or that's slightly sexist.
Ask for specifics. He's like, blown a fucking away.
I
made a point that you should just go along with.
That comes up here in a second.
You've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's what I'm asking for example.
Slightly more.
Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually use that for you.
You don't use that feed.
Because I just don't particularly like it.
Yeah, but he knows that there's more.
Hang on a second. You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example.
And you don't even use the feed that you claimed had more.
The fact you just said.
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Hold on.
You just said it's literally a house cat versus a fucking tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Or more than a tiger, fucking like a people tiger.
It's like one of your fucking sister's dogs going after like a wolf.
Like maybe not even. Maybe like one of your sister's dogs going after
a German Shepherd.
Like a steroided human. Like it's like even fucking doesn't even make any sense. Look at this fucking idiot has a fucking interview with Elon Musk, one of the smartest.
The dogs in question, by the way, are little chihuahuas.
Is that? Oh yeah. One of the smartest people on the planet, arguably, like not even arguably.
It's up for. He's up for the nomination.
He is
for sure.
So fucking smart. Sorry, go back. Yeah, let's hear this.
Keep playing.
Content.
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet.
I love that. Say, sir, that you don't know what to... Really? Yes. The richest man in the world, who's one... arguably one of the most famous people in the world also just said to you, you don't know what to talk about. I think you don't know what you're talking about.
Intelligent though. Like he doesn't even like when he's talking about it, he doesn't even like get mad at him. He's like,
no. He handles it so well.
Like Buddy is completely just riveting. He's just disarmed.
He can't handle this. He cannot handle this.
Right. He didn't prepare in any way.
Yeah.
And yet you claimed that the hateful content
was fucking not rise across the keys to this dude.
Yeah.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claim,
you just lied.
What I claim was
I love this.
There are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not. I mean, right, and
literally
if you look at something
one.
like the strategic dialogue
That's fucking
in the UK.
Watch how this ends, though.
They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
That's the best. I don't use that feed. Well, then how would you know when you made the claim that there's more hate speech on that feed?
Does it talk about BBC on this one, or was this clip?
There's only 20 seconds left. 19 seconds left.
So I'll just give you some context. When they first talk in this feed here, he's talking about misinformation. He says the fact this idiot from BBC talks about misinformation. He says the fact that Twitter promotes misinformation and there's misinformation out there, and so Elon says the BBC has promoted misinformation, and it uses like COVID-19 and things like that, as far as like they got things wrong, and that what's the sort of who is the arbitrator as far as misinformation, if you will. And so he starts there, but then that's where this goes into this whole thing now. And this guy takes this approach that Twitter is a misinformation sort of I don't whatever you want to call it. Like basically, it's an arbitrator of misinformation, and Elon says, "Hey, just like give me some fucking concrete evidence of this." And this guy cannot fucking do
Well,
it.
it's really equivalent. I mean, for the audience, BBC is like the equivalent of CBC. They're just not starting.
Yeah.
Copying good apps.
They got labeled as government funded, but then they argue, well, no, it's like a tax. It's weird. It's like you're government funded. Fuck off.
Yeah, the BBC, CBC, and say ABC News or MSN.
Well, NBC
in the States.
NBC left Twitter because they were labeled government funded, and they said that it was like 1% of their funding.
Fucking same. So like, I'll give CNN some credit.
Okay, let's finish this.
Oh,
Let's finish this. There's 19 seconds left.
Literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
That's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know
Wow.
it's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago.
Wow.
I can't give you an exact
Come on,
example.
Ernie, you haven't
Let's
even
move
looked
on.
at it.
Yeah.
We only have an
Let's
hour.
move on.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, let's move on. I can't back up my claim. You called me out on my bullshit. So you know what? Let's just move on.
This guy is a piece of shit. So
Little fucking weasel.
Again, like I said about CNN, at least CNN, they take a leftist approach, leaning approach on that. But at the same time, they're not necessarily a bought and paid for media organization by the government. They take a leftist approach, just like Fox takes a right approach. I would say the way you look at it is Fox takes a right-leaning approach.
100%. They were talking about COVID misinformation, and Elon called him out on that. I think you were talking about that kind of. Yeah.
So I would say that CNN takes a left-leaning approach, Fox takes a right-leaning approach. BBC is a fucking governmental propaganda machine. CBC is a propaganda machine for Canada. MSNBC is a propaganda machine for the States, and maybe ABC. So you have these organizations that are purely for propaganda, and then you have other organizations that take an approach either way, whichever they feel like leans on their audience, their demographic, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. If that's what you do, but you admit it, like Fox News, like out of all of them, admits the most. They say, "Hey, we take a
Concerted effort.
conservative thing." Yeah. So, anyways, that's my thing on that. So, I could get on a tangent on this.